I'm walking down the
I do want to say to Donnie and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
Get my hat up.
I'm South Carolina, so I just
may not look like you.
look at Donnie.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? Donnie.
Letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh.
The doctor lived next door to the janitor to the reverend and the lawyer. We were together. Now we're just so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Donnie, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. Entered the winning for the long haul, baby. I hope that you are doing well. I have some very sad news to share this morning about our very dear brother Ellsworth Bay. Now, this report came out yesterday. There's a lot of people in the city who love Brother Bay already knew this. I did not. But yesterday it hit the news. So here we go. A healthcare employee has been charged in connection with the murder of a 75-year-old patient in Northeast Baltimore. That would be Brother Bay. It all started last year on May 18th when police were called for an aggravated assault at Autumn Lake Post-Acute Care Center on Frankfort Avenue. A manager at the location told officers that Ellsworth Johnson Bay suffered a broken hip 3 days earlier after being knocked down by a contractual employee named Oba Jiraku Jane Ihinachu. Sounds like a Nigerian name. Johnson Bay later died at the hospital on September the 5th, and I know that was somewhere around his birthday, if I'm not mistaken. The medical examiner's office ruled his death a homicide, attributing it to the assault after reviewing video footage of the incident. Prosecutors charged Ihinacho with second-degree murder. Now, I saw a notice that said that Brother Bay had been murdered, and I had hoped it was, someone just, made a mistake. But Brother Bay did not deserve that. He served this community. He served this community well. I remember telling him about the problems I was having here on Carrollton Avenue. This was 20 years ago. Brother Bay came here, and we didn't have any more problems. That's what I can tell you. No one deserves to be beaten. I mean, it's a 75-year-old man. What could this man have possibly have done to warrant that type of treatment? Nobody deserves that. Nobody at all deserves that. And so our heartfelt prayers go out to Stokey, Sheena, and all Catalina Bird, and those people who truly love Brother Bay. He deserves so much better. And it really makes you wonder, where are we as a human race? We don't do right by our seniors. We just don't do right by our seniors. And so, let's take a moment and just pause, stop and breathe. We are better than this. What we're seeing in the city of Baltimore, we are so much better than this. It makes you wonder, all that we have been through as a people in America, the beautiful, from, first dealing with slavery. Understand that there was an incident out in Memphis. Yet another young black man. They said he was beaten to the magnitude of Rodney King. I was just listening to the news clip. It's so challenging listening to the news these days. You gotta get prayed up before you even watch the news to protect your spirit. Because otherwise you start taking in all of this negative stuff and you start believing it. When you really have to consider the source, especially if it's Fox. They have zero love for black people. At the same time, it makes you wonder what the other news outlets are covering. They do ask tough questions, but their coverage tends to be racist, period. The Smith family, which owns Atlas Group. Atlas Group has some really nice properties, but it's two Baltimores, and they further divide this city. They paint this picture of blacks as just horrible, but they don't see the Baltimore that many of us see. I hear my dog barking this morning. So I go out front to see what the matter is. And it's a Caucasian lady sitting on the sidewalk in front of my house. And this white lady has one foot. A foot has been presumably amputated. She's sitting there on the sidewalk, trying to put on some shoes. She's barefoot. Feet are bleeding. I really couldn't believe my eyes. Next thing I know, a young lady from presumably down the street walks up to her, brings her a pair of shoes, young black lady, brings her orange juice and a water. Clearly, this Caucasian lady had been getting high all night. Living around here, you know what people look like when they're getting high. You become an expert. I tell you what, if that white woman was black and over in Bolton Hill, they would have called the police, maybe an ambulance. And I heard the young black lady ask this white lady, "Do you need an ambulance?" And she said, "No, no, no." Because she ready to go back getting high. That's how that's how addiction goes. A part of me said, you should take a picture of her. But I don't do that. No matter how ugly Fox gets. Because I'm a human being. And that's just not good. It's not good for my soul, for my spirit. A part of me said, take the picture. But I did not. It was painful to see. And then you try to counterbalance what you're seeing on Fox, because they talk about the Squeegee Kids, Nick Mosby, Marilyn Mosby, As long as Ivan Bates keep talking about locking up people, they're not going to bother him. But Westmore, he ain't been in there a good 72 hours, and they busting his head already. Fox is racist. Their coverage is racist. They don't talk about Donald Trump. Donald Trump should be under jail or facing a firing squad. He's a traitor. He should be facing a firing squad. But he is a white male, and this is America. And America is majority white, and he accentuates white privilege, and nobody says a word. Had black people stormed the Capitol on January 6th, they would have been mowed down like grass. Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown, she went through all that she went through. Because there's some people who are just so caught up on race and entitlement that nobody else is supposed to live in America but them. Yeah, y'all can send y'all kids to go and fight for this country, but when you get back home, it's only for white people. They want our rhythm, but they don't want our blues. It's troubling living in America. A woman asked me earlier this week, has racism stopped me? No, it hasn't stopped me. Of course not. But it's so unnecessary. So many unnecessary obstacles. Mountains even. All because of that. Like we control how we are born. And if I had to be born all over again, I'd only make it a little darker. It's quite unfortunate. Despite all that black people have done in and for this country. Although our great-great-grandmothers fed white babies from their breasts. Although our ancestors, many of whom were enslaved, worked with no pay for years, for generations even. Although we gave you our multi-million-dollar athletes, and we gave you leaders, we gave you a Dr. King, we gave you a Malcolm X, we gave you a Harriet Tubman. Despite all of that, we built the White House. Benjamin Banneker memorized the plans for Washington, D.C. Matthew Henson discovered the North Pole. Even though white America did not want to acknowledge that a black man did that. They still tried to give credit to Admiral Robert Pike, but he stopped a long time ago, boo-boo. He stopped all the way back there. You can't even see him no more. He had frostbite. He did not make it to the North Pole. Matthew Alexander Henson did. And despite the music that we have contributed, despite your Stevie Wonders, your Michael Jacksons, and your Prince, you want our rhythm, America, but you don't want our blues. And so here we are, 23 years into the 21st century. We look in the mirror, faced with COVID. Who are we as a country? Frederick Douglass wrote many moons ago, what to the slave is the 4th of July? We talk about independence. Our beloved Democrats talk about democracy, equality. Oh, what's the new buzzword? Oh, I know. Wait a minute. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Critical race theory. All of this is just subterfuge. Words to hide behind. To make other people feel good. You're still a racist. You're a rat bastard racist. Can't even tell the truth on social media. As long as you're doing a TikTok dance, as long as you're doing a dance, hey, everybody in the club getting tipsy. As long as you're doing that, as long as you busting a move, they cool with you, black people. As long as you getting funky. You cool. Tell a joke. He, ha, ha. You can stay. Tell jokes. Kevin Hart. Tell jokes. Make them laugh. Yeah, I ain't forgot Kevin Hart. Worth $450 million, but he took the contract to push gambling on states like Maryland. And it's unacceptable. What's even more unacceptable is a majority Democratic city in a 2-to-1 Democratic state that has all of this gambling that has garnered $15 billion, but we have schools with no heat, like Polly City at last check. Polly City, no heat. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We think the struggle stopped. We think once we moved to Randallstown and to Essex and to Towson, Howard County, Columbia. I love Columbia. We think once we move there, the struggle is over. But the struggle continues. La lucha continua. The struggle is real every day. The struggle continues. Randallstown still has to fight. When the recent redistricting happened, they had to choose. Politics alone is not going to solve our problems. I don't care who you get. I don't care who you get. Politics alone is not going to fix Black America. We need the money. This is a capitalistic country. We need the money. We need the paper. We need to access the capital. And that's where we've really been stymied, where we've really been hindered. The money. Money owed. Yeah, I want my damn reparations check. You should want yours too. We can't. You pay everybody else. You just sent $50 billion to the Ukraine. I don't know nobody in the Ukraine. Do you? I know some people in some of them 54 countries in Africa. But of course, Africa is not a priority to America unless we are colonializing it, colonizing. Next month, starting Wednesday, we will be getting into some Black history and sharing some Black history thoughts and concepts. And just so you know, Mr. Chuck Lee, retired officer, had some business, so he's running a bit behind. We don't do right by the seniors or the children. No, we don't, Deborah. We've robbed the children. We've done wrong. True that on Trump and the Capitol attack. The U.S. lives lies. No truth allowed from the White Boy Network. You know, when this show goes off, when I cut my TV off, I go back, toward the TV. And Pat Robinson's son's on that, Lord Dracula. That man can't tell me nothing about God. There's nothing he could tell me in a million years about God. I've seen their behavior. Now, I'm all for forgiving, but not when you keep on doing it. I'm not going to forgive you. I'm not that kind of Christian. I don't know what kind of Christian I am, but I know I ain't that kind. You smack me, I'm going to smack your ass back and harder. I ain't from that mob. What that man say? Try Jesus, but don't try me, because I throw hands. That's right. And this new generation, they'll shoot you. I watched the lady on the news and she talked about how she doesn't carry a pocketbook. And I know a lot of people have issues with Baltimore City. They come here, they take a bite and they leave. Can't help themselves. Some people come here to buy their dope. A lot of white people come here from all over to buy dope. We see your tag numbers. Harford County, Carroll County, Eastern Shore. They all come to Baltimore to buy dope. What are we going to do? You got to pray and you got to work. You got to talk to your neighbors. You got to stay involved. You can't get sucked in by the crap on the wall. You got to stay a part of the solution. We're either part of the solution or part of the problem. I am yet to see a gambling commercial with non-black people talking in black. Yeah, that part, the black dollars. I don't like gambling. I believe this personally, and I know I've seen gambling addiction and having experienced drug addiction. I can really see how those endorphins, those all of those things inside the brain and spine, and what it does to us, the rush we get. I remember going on a bus trip years ago, and we hadn't been in the gambling spot 5 minutes, and I was just there for the food. I assure you, because I got my money and I'm not jeopardizing it to get something else. I'm grateful for what the good Lord put in my pocket. That ain't my challenge. I walk right past a slot machine. We hadn't been there 5 minutes. Can you lend me $20 till we get back home? Huh? You blew your money that fast? Woo. Gambling is tough. I've seen people sit right there, the one-armed bandit. You in the club. You know how they got them one-armed bandits in the club, in the nightclubs, and they pay. I've seen people put coins and coins and coins and coins. I remember one time the people stayed overnight. Just like in them casinos, if you ever been to an event at them casinos like 9 o'clock in the morning, you see people in there gambling and drinking. Ooh, baby. Trying to get that hit. I won 1,600, but you done put in 4,500. It just don't work for me. And so when I see such a talented comedian, Kevin Hart was my favorite. No. Talking about his daddy. I love me some Kevin Hart, but then he took this money. It's like we have no obligation to our community. I made mine. I got mine. You got yours to get. And that's where we are. I got mine. You got yours to get. Have you ever heard that? Now that we have a black governor, I'm going to say this. I've said it earlier this week. HBCUs, you do not get a pass. Every year, I see HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. I'm not going to say all of them, but I see these institutions asking for more and 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 more. But when I go on the campus of some of these HBCUs, I'm starting to see everybody but black people. When I go into the financial aid office or the admissions office, when I look at the academic team, the staff, are HBCUs really for black people? I hear the rhetoric. I hear the persuasive talking. But if you've ever had an experience at an HBCU, you know what I'm talking about. And you can't just keep saying, oh, that's just how they do it. No. Too many people at HBCUs got the attitude, I got mine and you got yours to get. Good morning, Mr. Braswell. How can black men meet with you to form a group that does something? 443-858-2684. Public number. BeMoreNews.com. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Author of I Am Black Wall Street. We tell the story of how those black people got to Oklahoma in the first place. And the other book, 2015, Unapologetically Black. 443-858-2684. I'm willing to work with people, especially our brothers and sisters behind the walls. My man, Michael Randolph, all the way from Well, he's from Sandtown, but he's down in Tampa. Moved to Florida on us. I know you miss Sandtown, Michael. Stay safe and all of that weather down there. What community? When you get so much, it's hard to pass through the eye of a needle. Yeah, money. A rich man's chance in heaven is like the camel's chance through the eye of a needle. I'm all for money. Make your money. But invest back in your community. We don't invest back in our community. Grandma's house is gone, and we say the hell with it. I ain't going back down there. Here go Deborah. It should be, I've got mine, let me help you get yours. Yeah, pay it forward. We assisted a young person yesterday in making some strides towards their future. And the young person, 23-year-old black man, was very grateful, very teachable, in my estimation. And I said, just pay it forward. We got to get back to that. Pay it forward. I heard of a restaurant. Someone told me of a black restaurant. When you go there, you can put money. You can add $1 to your bill, and it will go to feed someone less fortunate. What a beautiful idea. This is for black people. Don't let anybody cause you to stop believing in your own. There's some beautiful white people in this world, beautiful Asian people, beautiful Indian people, beautiful Latino people, but I'm talking to black people. America has been very mean, very wicked, very selfish, very violent, and still is toward us, simply because of that pretty color skin. They want our rhythm, but they don't want our blues. But Earth, Wind, and Fire said, don't let the ways of the world make your heart turn cold. Ways of the world makes your heart turn cold. That's the way of the world, but we got to tap back in even harder. We got to tap back into our families. We got to try to heal some bridges. Some bridges, they need to be burned. But other bridges, like this parental alienation, people not letting the other parent see their child. Or some people are so damaged that they alienate the grandparent. Where these silly Negroes come from? Grandparent alienation. I've seen it with my own eyes. Couldn't believe it. You won't let him see his grandchild? You won't let her see her grandchild? What manner of man is this? What manner of woman is this? So we got a lot of healing to do. Preachers got a lot of healing to do. Preachers ain't going well. The preachers are not going well. I don't know that you can keep on using old keys because these young people ain't trying to hear that foolishness. And God is God, and that will always be. But these preachers, I think, need to go back to the drawing board. Everybody act like they like Dr. King. No, they didn't. They didn't love Dr. King. They were not there for Dr. King. They did not protect him. They did not. They played like they liked Dr. King. They celebrate him today. They talk about I have a dream, about the promised land. Little black boys and little black girls will walk together and sing the words of the Negro spiritual free at last. Are we free? Are we free? We're free when we start working together. That's the only freedom I see, is when we help each other. When we know that we are each other's keeper. When we get back to that. The energy we put into learning a TikTok dance, we could put that same energy into teaching our children some Black history. We could teach them about Tom Smith. We could teach them about Willie Adams. We could teach them about Victorine Adams. We could teach them about Frederick Douglass. More than just, oh, I went to Douglass High School. No. Tell them something that Frederick Douglass says. Frederick Douglass wrote, he said, when we find a man who's ascended heights beyond ourselves, who has a broader range of vision than we, a sky with more stars in it than we have in ours, we may know that he has worked harder, better, more wiser than we. He was awake while we slept. He was busy while we were idle. He was wisely improving his talents while we were wasting ours. Tell them what Malcolm X said. I'd rather be what I am, a Black man, than to claim membership with the most favored of any other race. I've been made sad when members of this or that particular race start claiming rights and privileges or certain badges of distinction on the grounds that they belong to this or that particular race, regardless of their own individual worth or attainment. Merit is in the long run recognized and rewarded. I say that here not to call attention to myself as an individual, but to the race to which I am proud to belong. Do the work. That's the bottom line. Do the work. And one last thing, it's clear that our guest is not going to make it today. It's on the note of our purpose. Do you know your purpose? Deborah, Joe, Michael, do you know your purpose? What is your purpose? We have to know our purpose. I shared with my son earlier this week, your gifts will make room for you. He's 26 years old, and I'm so grateful for him and my daughter. So grateful to be here. So grateful to have seen 2 generations before and 2 generations after. Thank God I didn't get to meet my 2 grandfathers, but I thank God for what I was able to see, who I was able to meet and talk to and learn from. What is your purpose? We all have a purpose. Have you tapped into your purpose? I will submit to you that I think one of the biggest frustrations in the world is people who haven't tapped into their purpose. That's why they're frustrated. That's why they're miserable. That's why they're in jobs that they don't like and they're mean to every damn body. Some of them need some sex probably, but that's a whole other story. I'm not your sex therapist. But you can tell miserable people. And you can tell happy people. And happy people got to protect themselves from miserable people. I was over walking Faro the other day. This lady was over there crying. I said, why are you crying? Because he think I'm cheating on him. She apparently was talking to her boyfriend on the phone. You know, people out there cheating are always going to blame the other person. That's what cheaters do. We have to be accountable for ourselves. My thought is if you like that other person, then just go over there and be there. But we lack morals. We think, especially as young men, I can't speak for women because I ain't one, but some of us as young men and some older men, sadly, think we can escape karma. We think that woman don't know. Generally speaking, them women know. So brothers, honor your commitment. You married her, then honor her. And if you ain't get out the damn way so a real man can get in there. Sisters, we all play a role, but nobody deserves to be treated poorly. We should be treating each other like kings and queens. And if we ain't going to do it, then step off. Go get your stuff together. Sit on the bench. Take a time out. Go to some Bible study. Get your spirit back. Go to mosque. Get your yoga on. Heal. Take a time out. Everybody want to be in a relationship. Relationships are work. But let me get back to that purpose-driven life. There's a book by Rick Warren. Great guy. Great story. Great writer, I should say. I know he lost his son to suicide, and it had to be a horrific challenge for him. But Rick Warren's book, Purpose-Driven Life, you got to pick it up. We all have a purpose, and we all got to tap into our purpose. And the more we tap into our purpose and our passion, those gifts from God, the more those gifts will make room for us. My ink pen makes room for me. That's my secret weapon, that and prayer. That pen right there. That pen right there. This pen. It's my weapon. I don't like guns. Guns are permanent. But these are permanent too. Well, a gun is even more permanent, truth be told. But this is life. Death or life. I choose life. And you know, I'm sorry once you get the gun. Once you pull that trigger. Still can't believe this woman hit Brother Bay in the head. Brother Bay was a soldier, general. That's what we've stooped to in this city. Those are my thoughts. My name's Donnie Glover. Have a beautiful day. Find your purpose. You find your passion, and it will bring you peace. If you don't find your purpose, no. Going around messing up everybody's day. Have a good weekend, everybody. Good morning, world.